And communities in Far North Queensland are hunkering down as Tropical Cyclone Jasper makes landfall as a Category 2 storm. It's forecast to deliver wind gusts of up to 140 kilometres an hour. More than 15,000 homes are without power amid warnings outages could last for up to 5 days. The Weather Bureau has forecast Jasper could dump up to 500 millimetres of rain within the next 24 hours.
Well, 10 News First reporter Georgina Hill is in Port Douglas for us tonight. Tell us about what's going on where you are.
Hamish, it is wet and it is extremely windy, and this has just happened. This is probably the first biggest bit of damage we have seen. This is the main street of Port Douglas, and anyone that's been up here for holidays would know what it usually looks like on McCrossan Street. The bars and restaurants are usually full. But this tree, honestly, it is the epitome of being uprooted. It looks like when you're gardening and you've just pulled something out of the pot. It is an enormous tree. I just spoke to someone who didn't see it come down, but they heard it. They said they heard a huge crack, and when they came downstairs, that is what they saw. It has been raining on and off all day, but in the past couple of hours, things really did start to pick up as Jasper began to make landfall as a Category 2 system. People have been really well prepared, though, here in Port Douglas. They made the most of the glorious, normal Far North Queensland weather over the past couple of days to sandbag their homes and businesses, and everything in the main street closed up shop at about 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon.
Georgina, we can see you battling those conditions, that tree down behind you. What other damage have you seen?
There's a power pole down just up near 4 Mile Beach. The beach was one of the first areas to really see the early signs of Jasper this morning. The wind really picked up along the beach, which you would normally expect on the coast. But then when he came into town earlier today, it was quite quiet. And so back at the beach is where things were really starting to heat up. And now, of course, it is just sweeping through the centre of Port Douglas. We've seen plenty of trees down, plenty of big branches and palm leaves, lots of coconuts down, of course, in this area. But I haven't seen any structural damage at this stage, and I haven't heard of any structural damage, thankfully, at this stage either.
Georgina, what's the risk of a tidal surge?
So the biggest high tide was earlier this morning. There is another high tide, though, tonight at around 8:40. So people living in low-lying areas, both here in Port Douglas and down in Cairns, are still being warned to take heed of those safety messages and those warning messages, just as that high tide is forecast for around 8:40 tonight. We did receive one of those emergency text messages earlier this afternoon to seek shelter, and we are in a fairly safe area right now on the strip of shops. We are under a large shelter, so we are fairly protected where we're standing now. But everyone who is in those low-lying areas is just being told to keep ahead of those warning messages, particularly when that high tide comes in later tonight. But it won't be as big as this morning.
Georgina, thanks for the update. Stay safe.
Thank you.